All right, that was quiz 1. Now, multiplying by 5 and 10. I'm actually going to start multiplying by 10 because it's super duper 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 easy. Because we have a base 10 system, multiplying by 10 literally just means moving the decimal point. And since we haven't talked about decimal points yet and we're only dealing with whole numbers, multiplying by 10 literally just means adding a 0. You put a 0 on the end. That's it. That's multiplying by 10. At this point. It's going to get more complicated than that, but that's it at this point. 1 second, my display just went dark. There we go. So I say 5 times 10 is 50, and for me, it's because I know that I can just take a 5 and tack on that 0. But again, you could count 5, 10, 15, 20 up to 50, or you can do what this number line is doing, and it's jumping by 10s 5 times. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Multiply. 10 times 10, well, that would be 100. Again, just adding a 0. 10 times 10, well, we just did that problem. It's 100. 10 times 3 is 30. 3 times 10 is also 30. And if I had use of my whiteboard, which I don't right now, I would totally write this down. This has a name, and it's the same thing. Do you remember in our last few videos, our last few series, we talked about how like 3 plus 10 and 10 plus 3 are both 13, right? If I have 2 and 3, it doesn't matter which order I add them in. I have 5 altogether. And that's called the commutative, commute meaning to go back and forth, like your commute to work. That is called the commutative property of addition. And there is also a commutative property of multiplication. And hopefully that you'll be able to see that essentially the reason that 3 times 10 is the same thing as 10 times 3, if you imagine, here we have 3 tables, each of which has 10 bells on it. Imagine instead if we had 10 tables, each of which had 3 bells on it. Either way, the total number of bells is 30. So multiplication is also commutative. You can do it in either direction. 3 times 10, 10 times 3, they're the same thing. 4 times 10 is 40, just add a 0. 8 times 10 is 80, just add a 0. And we're done with multiply by 10. I notice that there aren't any articles or videos available in this lesson. Normally, this is where I would plug Khan Academy's very, very excellent videos on these topics. But it would appear that we do not have any videos or articles, so we're just going to have to rely on just me. So where are we next? We're going to multiply by 5. Now, multiplying by 5 to me was very easy because I can count by 5s very quickly. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And over time, that has become so fast that I don't even really do it consciously anymore. I know that 8 times 5 is 40. And again, to me, it feels like memorization, but I strongly encourage you to make use of these visuals and other things like it. 1 times 5, if I jump 1 unit 5 times, or if I jump 5 units 1 time, either way, the total answer is 5. 5 times 10, just add a 0. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. Thank you very much. Memorizing times tables. 5 times 4 is 20. 7 times 5 is 35. And that's multiplying by 5. Again, I rely heavily on memorization here. It's okay if your student does. It's also okay if they don't. Give them the time to figure it out however makes sense for them. I honestly think students should be given physical objects at this level. Like if they're taking a quote-unquote math test, which you probably shouldn't be doing at a 3rd grade level anyway, but if you're taking a quote-unquote math test to do multiplication, maybe giving the students unit blocks so that they can try to build and construct areas themselves so that they can use multiple different ways of figuring out the problem. Maybe that would be a possibility. I don't know. I know I didn't have that when I was in school. 6 times 5 is 30. Really quick, I think I rushed past multiplying by 5, and I think it's important that I tell you what my main strategy is when I'm not memorizing, okay? So you remember how, God, I wish I had my whiteboard. I want to be writing this down right now. Remember how sometimes if I have like 23 plus 19, we would add 20 instead because it's easier, and then just subtract the 1 because 19 is 1 less than 20. You can do the same thing with multiplication and division. When I do 6 times 5, my head goes 6 times 10 is 60. Just add a 0. And then, because 5 is half of 10, you take half of it. So I take 6 times 10 is 60. Half of 60 is 30. That's how I multiply by 5 when it's not something that it's like memorized or comes up instantly. Ow, just hit my hand on my desk. I'm a super professional at this. 10 times 9, just add a 0. I need to come up with like a jingle for just add a 0. One moment. 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 10, just add a 0. 7 times 5, again, 7 times 10 is 70. Half of 70 is 35. Anything times 1 is itself. Anything times 1 is itself. 7 times 10, just add a 0. 10 times 5. Let's do this one without just adding a 0. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Boom. Although, again, we've already answered this question. Oh, wow. I got a typo. Annoying. We'll see if I have to correct that later. 5 times 2 is 10. My setup is awkward at the moment, so we'll see. 10 times 10 is 100. 3 times 5 is 15. We should know that 10 times 10 is 100, by the way, because in 2nd grade, we were using all of those 10 blocks to make 100 blocks visually in order to do addition and subtraction, you know, visually with like tactile things. 3 times 5 is 15. 10 times 3, just add a 0. All right. I'll make that up in the quiz later.